Welcome back to the mathematics class. How are you all? Hope all of you are safe at home. So children, we have completed 7 chapters in mathematics, isn't it? Today, let's move on to our next chapter, which is an interesting chapter named Fractions. And this is our 7th chapter. So children, I have a few balls here. In total, there are 6 balls. 4 yellow balls and 2 green balls. So what is the fraction of green balls here? It is 2 by 6. And what is the fraction of yellow balls? In total, there are 4 yellow balls. So the fraction of yellow balls are, yes, it is 4 by 6. So how to form a fraction? So let's learn in detail about it today. So children, what you see here is the mind map for our chapter Fractions. So under fractions, we would learn about fractions as a part of a whole, fractions as part of a collection, equivalent fractions, like and unlike fractions, proper and improper fractions, mixed fractions, addition and subtraction of like fractions, and fractions in real life. So children, how do we write a fraction? We write one number on the top of another number, isn't it? So number which we write above is called as numerator, and the number which we write below is called as the denominator. So a fraction is equal to number of equal parts considered by total number of equal parts. For example, 3 by 7. This is a fraction, and this is called as the numerator, and this is the denominator. Okay? So children, now let's learn fraction as a part of a whole. Okay, here you see 4 blocks, isn't it? Some alphabets are written T, F, D, P. Okay, so this is 1 out of this 4. This F is 1 out of this 4. Similarly, D and P is 1 out of this 4. Okay, so if I remove one of the block, what will happen? So look here, I have removed one block, isn't it? Now what is the fraction here? It is 3 by 4, and this alone, it is 1 by 4. Got it? So children, here I have a figure. Okay, now the question is to shade 2 by 3 part of it. So how to do that? We can shade the first part and the second part. So there are 3 parts in total, and I have shaded 2 parts. Now look at the fraction and the figure, it's equal, right? Yes. So children, now let's learn fraction as a part of collection. Okay, so we can represent a fraction as part of a collection also. Here I have a question, express 2 by 3 of an hour in minutes. Okay, 2 by 3 of an hour? What is that? You have already learned time chapter, isn't it? So you know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, isn't it? So can you tell me what is 2 by 3 of an hour? Okay, we'll do and see. Here 2 by 3 of an hour, that is 2 by 3 of an hour. You know that 1 hour is made up of 60 minutes. So we can write it as 60 here. Okay. Now the meaning of is into. So 2 by 3 into 60. Now let's multiply. How to do that? We can write it as 2 into 60 by 3. There is no change here. Okay. Now when you divide 60 by 3, what is the answer? 60 by 3 is, yes, it is 20. So we have 2 into 20. What is 2 into 20? It is 40. So we have taken the 60 as minutes. So the answer's unit is minutes. Okay. So 2 by 3 of an hour is 14 minutes. Okay. So children, a fraction can be written in different ways. So now let's learn the concept of equivalent fractions. What is an equivalent fraction? Okay. Observe this. I have some figures here. Okay. And now I am going to shade some of the parts. Okay. So here I have shaded one part, here 2 parts, and here 4 parts. Okay. Now tell me what part is shaded? Yes, out of 2 parts, 1 part is shaded. Here there are 4 parts in total, and out of that 2 parts are shaded. Here there are 8 parts, isn't it? And out of that 4 parts are shaded. Okay. Now if you observe, see, the same amount of part is shaded, isn't it? So 1 by 2 is equal to 2 by 4, and this is equal to 4 by 8, where all these fractions are equivalent, isn't it? So children, 2 or more fractions which represent the same amount is called as equivalent fractions. Now let's learn how to form an equivalent fraction. Okay. So here I have a question, 3 by 5. Now the one way of solving is multiply the numerator and denominator by a same number. Okay. The other method is divide the numerator and denominator by a same number. Now this question, both 3 and 5 are having only one common factor, which is 1. So we cannot divide by a same number. So let's multiply this fraction with a same number. Okay. Now 3 by 5, let's multiply by 2. So multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. So we get 6 by 10. Next, let's multiply the numerator and denominator by 3. You can choose any number, okay? So, 3 into 3 is 9 and 5 into 3 is 15. Let's find one more. So, 3 by 5 into 4. Let's choose smaller numbers, so the calculation would be easy. Now 3 into 4 is 12 and 5 into 4 is 20. Now I have formed equivalent fractions of 3 by 5. What are they? 6 by 10, 9 by 15 and 12 by 20. Okay. So children, I have one more question here. 8 by 12. Let's form equivalent fractions of 8 by 12. Yes. So, here 8 and 12 are having common factors, isn't it? What are they? 1, 2, 4, isn't it? So, if you divide 8 and 12 by 1, we get the same. So, let's divide 8 by 12 by 4. That means divide the numerator and denominator by 4. So 8 by 4 is 2 and 12 by 4 is 3. So we have formed one equivalent fraction. Now divide the numerator and denominator by 2. Here 8 by 2 is 4 and 12 by 2 is 6. So we have formed two equivalent fractions of 8 by 12, which are 2 by 3 and 4 by 6. So whenever you get a fraction, see whether both the numerator and denominators are having the common factor. Okay? And then if there is a common factor, then divide the numerator and denominator by that particular factor. If there is no common factor, then multiply the numerator and denominator by a particular number. Got it? Now, let's learn how to check whether two fractions are equivalent. So, here comes the concept of cross multiplication. How to do? We have to cross multiply the numerator of first fraction and denominator of second fraction, and then the numerator of second fraction with the denominator of first fraction. So I have here 6 by 10 and 3 by 5. Let's check whether they are equivalent. So what is 6 into 5? 6 into 5. It is 30, isn't it? Now what is 10 into 3? 10 into 3 is also 30. Yes. So what can we conclude? 6 by 10 is equivalent to 3 by 5. So this is how we check whether two fractions are equivalent. See here, I have a question. 32 by 36 is equal to 8 by something. Okay. Now, how to find this value in the box? Yes, we have to make them equivalent. Okay. So, what to do? Here, we have 8, which is smaller than 32. That means, we have to divide 32 by a number so that we get 8. So, with what should we divide? Yes, if you divide 32 by 4, we would get 8. So, let's divide 36 also by 4. If you divide any number in the numerator, then you have to divide the denominator also with the same number. Now, 32 by 4 is 8 and 36 by 4 is 9. So, the value here is 9. So, 32 by 36 is equivalent to 8 by 9. Got it? So, children, now let us learn how to reduce a fraction to its lowest terms. So, here you have to use the concept of HCF. You have already learned it, right? Yes. So, here I have a question 21 by 27. Now, the question is to reduce this fraction to its lowest term. Okay? For that, one method is we have to find the common factors and then divide the numerator and denominator by that particular factor. The second method is to find the HCF of the numerator and denominator and divide the numerator and denominator by the HCF. Okay? So, here 21 can be factorized as 3 into 7 and 27 as 3 into 9. Now, what is the HCF? Highest common factor? Yes, it is 3. So, the HCF of 21 and 27 is 3. So, what to do? We have to divide the numerator and denominator by 3. Now, 21 by 3 is 7 and 27 by 3 is 9. Okay? So, now we have reduced this particular fraction to its lowest term. Okay? So, children, remember how to know whether a fraction is in its lowest terms. If the HCF of the numerator and denominator is 1, then we can conclude that the fraction is in its lowest terms. Okay? So, now let us move on to our next topic, which is like and unlike fractions. What is a like fraction? The fractions in which the denominators are same. Those fractions are like fractions. Okay? And the fractions in which the denominators are different are called as unlike fractions. Okay? For example, 1 by 9, 5 by 9, 7 by 9 are like fractions. 1 by 4, 2 by 3, 5 by 6, etc. are unlike fractions. Okay? So, children, we learned about like and unlike fractions, isn't it? Now, let us learn how to convert unlike fractions to like fractions. Okay? For that, we have to use the concept of LCM. Okay? Here, I have an example of 2 by 14 and 7 by 21. Okay? Now, both of these fractions are unlike, isn't it? Now, let us convert them to like fractions. Okay? So, we have to find the LCM first and then make the denominators same so that it would become the like fractions. So, 14 can be factorized as 2 into 7, isn't it? And 21 as 3 into 7. Okay? Or the normal way in which you find the common multiples. That way also you can do. Okay? So, here 7 is common, write 7 here, and then 2 and then 3. So, when you multiply 7 into 2 into 3, we get 42. So, 42 is the least common multiple of 14 and 21. Now, the next step is we have to make this 14 to 42. So, what to do? We have to multiply this 14 by a number so that we get 42. What is that number? 14 into 3 is 42. So multiply the numerator also by 3. So we get 2 into 3 is 6. Okay, so I got 6 by 42. The next fraction is 7 by 21. Again we have to make this denominator as 42. So 21 into 2 is 42. So multiply the numerator also by 2. So we get 7 into 2, which is 14. Now look at these fractions. They are like. 6 by 42 and 14 by 42 are like fractions. Okay. So children, now let's learn how to compare two like fractions. Okay. Here I have 4 by 9 and 3 by 9. Can you tell me which is greater? Yes, some of you have guessed that 4 by 9 is greater, isn't it? Okay. 4 by 9 is only greater than 3 by 9. Okay. How is it? Since the denominators are same, we have to just look at the numerator. So we already know 4 is greater than 3, isn't it? So in fractions, 4 by 9 is only greater than 3 by 9. Okay. Now let's learn the ascending and descending order. You already know to compare. Now it's easy, isn't it? Here I have 9 by 11, 2 by 11, 8 by 11 and 6 by 11. Okay. So which is the smallest here? It is 2 by 11, and then next is 6 by 11, next 8 by 11 and 9 by 11. So ascending order is arranging the numbers from smallest to largest, isn't it? So let's write 2 by 11 first, next 6 by 11, next 8 by 11 and at last 9 by 11. Now how is the descending order? Arrangement of numbers from largest to smallest. So 9 by 11 first, next is 8 by 11, next 6 by 11 and at last 2 by 11. So this is how we arrange the given fractions in ascending and descending order. Okay. So children, now let's move on to our next topics, which are proper fraction, improper fraction and mixed fraction. Okay. So what is a proper fraction? Proper fractions are in which the numerators are less than the denominators. Have you seen your answer sheets in which teachers give you marks? Yes. So we can find the denominator is either equal to the numerator or the denominator is greater than the numerator, isn't it? So those type of fractions are proper fractions. Okay. Now what about improper fractions? The fractions in which the numerator is greater than the denominator. Okay. For example, 5 by 4, 8 by 6. Examples of proper fractions are 1 by 4, 2 by 3, etc. And now what about mixed fraction? Mixed fraction is a combination of a whole number and a proper fraction. For example, 5, 3 by 7, 2, 5 by 6, etc. Okay. So children, we have learned proper, improper and mixed fraction, isn't it? So now let's learn how to convert one improper fraction into mixed fraction. Okay. So here I have an example, 56 by 9. Okay. So how to convert this improper fraction into mixed fraction? We have to divide 56 by 9. So when you divide 56 by 9, we get the quotient as 6 and the remainder as 2. Okay. Now listen carefully. To convert to a mixed fraction, we have to do like this: quotient plus remainder by divisor. So what is the quotient here? It is 6 plus remainder is 2 and the divisor is 9. Okay. So 6 wholes and 2 by 9 as a fraction. So this can be written as 6 2 by 9. So we have converted 56 by 9 as 6 2 by 9. Now let's learn how to convert a mixed fraction into an improper fraction. Okay. Let's take the same example. So 6 2 by 9 is a mixed fraction, isn't it? How to convert to a improper fraction? Yes, we have to multiply the whole part with the denominator first, that is 6 into 9. Okay, and next add the numerator to it and divide completely by the denominator. Okay. So 6 into 9 is 54. 54 plus 2 is 56. So we get 56 by 9. Is that the same? Yes. So we have converted improper fraction to a mixed fraction and a mixed fraction into an improper fraction. Okay. Did you all understand? So children, now let's learn how to add like fractions. So here I have an example. This is from your exercise. 2 by 10 plus 9 by 10 plus 3 by 10. So what you have to do is add all the numerators by the denominator. Here the denominators are the same, isn't it? So add the numerator first. Okay. Divide completely by 10. Okay. So 2 plus 9 plus 3 is 14, isn't it? So we get 14 by 10. Now 14 by 10 we can convert to a mixed fraction, isn't it? So when you divide 14 by 10, what do you get? 14 by 10, we get 4 as the remainder and 1 as the quotient, isn't it? So we can write it as 1 4 by 10. Okay, 1 4 by 10. Now if you observe 4 by 10, what do you get? We can reduce this again, only this part, 4 by 10. Okay. So here if you divide numerator and denominator by a common factor, yes, we can divide numerator and denominator by 2, isn't it? So when you divide numerator and denominator by 2, we get 2 by 5, isn't it? So, we can reduce this again as 1 2 by 5. Okay. So, the sum of the given question is 1 2 by 5. Got it? So, children, we learned to add like fractions, isn't it? Now, let us learn how to subtract like fractions. So, here I have a question: subtract 5 by 11 from 9 by 11. Okay? So, as you do normal subtraction, from which number? From that you have to start, isn't it? So, 9 by 11 minus 5 by 11. Okay? And now, if you observe, the denominators are same, isn't it? So, we can subtract the numerators and place the common denominator. Now, what is 9 minus 5? It is 4, isn't it? So, 4 by 11. So, 9 by 11 minus 5 by 11 is 4 by 11. Okay? So, children, now let us move on to our last topic, which is real life applications. So, here I have a question from exercise 7.7, question number 4. The question is, Sonu and Monu are making paper flowers. Sonu used 7 by 10 meter of paper and Monu used 2 by 10 meter of paper. Who used more paper and by how much? That is the question. Let us solve it. So, children, what is given? Paper used by Sonu, it is 7 by 10 meter. Okay? And paper used by Monu is 2 by 10 meter. So, who have used more? Sonu had used more paper, that is 7 by 10 meter. Okay? And by how much? How to find it? We have to subtract, isn't it? To find how much more have Sonu used, for that we have to subtract, that is 7 by 10 minus 2 by 10. So, just now we learned to subtract like fractions, isn't it? So, we have to subtract the numerator by denominator. So, we get 7 minus 2 is 5 by 10. Okay? So, Sonu have used 5 by 10 meter more than Monu. Got it? So, children, I have an activity for you. Find the fraction of u in your family. So, you all know the total members in your family, right? So, you can easily find the fraction of u in your family. I hope you all will find it. So, what did we learn in this chapter? Fractions. We learned fractions as a part of a whole, fractions as a part of a collection, about equivalent, like, unlike, proper, improper and mixed fractions. We also learned to add and subtract like fractions and some real life applications related to fractions. So, children, study well. Take care. Bye.